Welcome to finding a comfortable seated position in yoga. I think we've all seen the ads using yoga and where there's this super flexible person sitting on the floor with their legs crossed and that annoying blissful smile, maybe looking out over the ocean. Well, that's really nice for copy for an ad, but it's not really what we do here at Veterans Yoga Project and the kind of yoga that we teach. You'll be relieved to know that most Americans can't sit on the floor comfortably or properly, let alone with their legs crossed, and let alone smile about it. Our culture, the way we sit in chairs, our bone structure, they all make sitting properly really difficult and for some people impossible. So the good news is that you can take the pressure off yourself, that there is no reason that you have to sit on the floor. But if you're going to try to sit on the floor, let me go ahead and share a few pointers with you so that you can find a comfortable place to sit on the floor so that you can enjoy your yoga practice. And we can make sure that you're safe as you engage in the mindful movement. First, how we sit determines how we breathe. And if you haven't seen the belly breathing video, I invite you to go back and take a look at that. Take a look at John here, for example. You can see that he's sitting on the floor, but he doesn't look that comfortable, does he? And that's because he really isn't built to do so. If you watch him breathing, you'll see that most of his breath is up here in the chest, in the throat. And what that does is that contributes to your body's physiological stress response. And if, for example, if we asked him to raise his arms up over his head, all the way up. Very nice. And you can even hear that a little bit of difficulty in his voice. Go ahead and you can put your arms back down. So what happens when you're sitting on the floor in this uncomfortable way, you're not able to really get a full, deep, and natural breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what happens when we change the way that John is sitting. So Brianna here is here to help us, and she's going to provide a little lift for John's hips. So if you wouldn't mind, John, allowing Brianna to go ahead and slide. We have a couple of yoga blocks and a yoga blanket. And what this is going to do is lift John's hips to the level of his knees, or maybe even a little above his knees, which is going to allow perhaps his spine to be a little bit straighter, have the neutral curves of the spine, which will allow the breath to come into the belly. So we can see that it looks like there's a little bit of improvement. He is starting to breathe into the belly a little more, but I'm not sure you're 100% comfortable. You are? Great. Okay. So there you go. So the next thing that we want to do is that we want to see how does your body move when you're sitting in this position. So go ahead and raise your arms up overhead and tell me if that feels any more comfortable.
Much more.
Much more. Great. Wonderful. And so just by lifting the hips up off the floor, we allow the body to have its natural position to allow a full breath. So the next thing to do is to notice how your sitting bones feel on the surface of wherever you're sitting. And so you can do that sitting here. But the other thing is that we could always use a chair. So now we're going to see what John feels like and how his body moves and how he breathes sitting in a chair. So now we have John here sitting in the chair. Is that a little more comfortable than sitting on the floor?
Yes, it is.
All right. So the next rule, after we find a comfortable place where we can allow a full breath and allow the breath to come into the belly, is to notice the sensations of the surface that we're resting on. And we can do that using the sitting bones. So I invite you to bring all of your attention into those two little bones in your butt that allow you to sit up. And you might notice that if you rock back and forth, side to side, you can feel the sensations of those sitting bones into the chair. And maybe see if you can't notice if one side tends to be a little more connected or grounded down and one and might see them a little up, and then see if you can't go ahead and even those sitting bones out, and letting go of the one that might seem up a little bit up in the air. And then you might even rock back and forth on those sitting bones a little bit. You could even imagine them as little paint brushes, little paint rollers. We're trying to get an even spread just through the pelvis, forward and back. And see if you can't find a place now as you press your feet into the floor that allows you to take that big breath into the belly and feel a little more comfortable. Are you completely comfortable, John?
Still a little bit in the back, but need a little support.
Well, good. That brings us to the third rule, right? Is that support precedes action and that we all need support from time to time. And so I'll invite you to, and this is often difficult to ask for help, but when you're in a class or you're at home, you can ask somebody else to help give you a little bit of support. So we'll ask Brianna to come in and see if there might be an idea that can sit you a little bit more comfortably.
Can we place these blocks underneath your feet? How's that feel?
It's good.
Good.
Better.
All right. And sometimes it won't feel better. The idea is to try different things to see how you can best support your body. Remember that we all breathe roughly 900 times an hour. And then how we breathe will either support our nervous system or deplete our nervous system. So each rep matters. How we sit, how we choose to sit off of the mat in our very everyday lives, sitting in the car, sitting in front of our desks, how we sit matters. And they all count, and each rep that you breathe counts and will either give you strength or deplete your strength. So I invite you to take all the time you need to find the most comfortable seating position that you can find and enjoy your yoga practice. Happy sitting.